This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Once more, good morning, and this time, welcome to your Sunday news on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Oil companies carted off almost 90% of the oil produced offshore Guyana last year due to a 2016 deal described as an explicit S-word by Guyana's Vice President Dr. Barra Jagdeo. The deal allows ExxonMobil and its partners to recover costs up to a ceiling of 75% in the form of lifts categorized as cost oil. Many times when this deal is criticized, Guyanese are told that their take will increase soon, when cost recovery is completed. But the Guyanese people do not know when that day will come. While the PPP government is regularly furnished with reports on costs by oil companies, the administration has not shed light on its projections. The public, the press, and transparency advocates have no access to reports that outline neither the costs ExxonMobil is submitting to the government nor the rate at which they are being recovered, despite countless calls for these details to be made public. As stipulated by the Stabroek PSA, ESSO is required to submit its annual work program and budget to the government. Regulators have never made these reports public. Additionally, 2 cost recovery audits are still pending. Vice President Barra Jagdeo has in recent times described the PSA, the 2016 PSA, as being a quote-unquote another explicit word deal. But officials at ExxonMobil Corporation, one of the 3 companies the agreement was inked with, believes otherwise. Specifically, head of ExxonMobil Guyana, Alistair Routledge, feels the deal offers Guyanese more benefits than it does for the investors. During a recent engagement with members of the media, Routledge said the widely publicized view that ExxonMobil, Hess Corporation, and Sinnock Petroleum Limited are walking away with the lion's share of benefits from the 2016 PSA is untrue. Kaieteur News publisher Glenn Lal said Exxon and partners are not telling the citizenry that for every barrel produced, they are snatching 75% of the oil first to sell and cover their investments. The remainder, 25%, is called profit oil. He said this is what is shared 50-50. And in other news, President Ali on Friday told members of the private sector that they must speak up against calls for the lopsided Stabroek Block oil deal to be renegotiated. The president was at the time delivering the feature address at the commissioning ceremony hosted by the Guyana Shore Base Inc. for 2 new heavy lift berths at its Houston facility. Despite acknowledging on many occasions that Guyana's deal with ExxonMobil's subsidiary, ESSO, for its lucrative Stabroek Block is a bad one, Ali used the platform to iterate that his government is never going to change it. President Ali, in his speech, even went a step further to tell the private sector that they must speak up against calls by civil society bodies and the opposition to renegotiate the contract because it has the most to lose if the deal is changed. Although the contract might provide a mechanism for changes, President Ali believes his government is obligated to act in good faith by honoring it. Among the consequences, the president said, are capital flight and loss of national credibility that can hinder the future of a country. In other news, though the government of Guyana has introduced a suite of higher fiscal terms for contracts governing the award of new blocks, such as a 10% royalty and the payment of corporate and income taxes, it has not dissuaded ExxonMobil Corporation. In fact, Alistair Routledge, who serves as ESSO president, confirmed on Friday that the subsidiary is registered for the bid round. The draft model PSA is expected to be released on Monday, February 13th, with the consultation period lasting for 15 days to close on February 28th. And in other news, a group of citizens have filed an objection to the Environmental Assessment Board against the decision by the EPA to waive an environmental impact assessment for a natural gas-fired power plant to be constructed at Wales on the west bank of Demerara. The power plant is a component of the gas-to-energy project being developed by the government and ExxonMobil. The project entails transporting the natural resource via a pipeline, then separating and treating the gas via a natural gas liquids facility, which will be then used to power the 300 megawatts power plant in question. Two citizens, attorney-at-law Elizabeth Dean Hughes and environmental activist Vanda Radzik, in their letter of appeal to the Environmental Assessment Board, dated February 5th, said the project can cause serious impacts to lives and livelihoods, insisting that a sound environmental impact assessment must inform the decision of the EPA to grant a permit for the power plant. 14 other Guyanese also attached their signatures to the objection letter addressed to the Environmental Assessment Board. And to wrap things up this morning, a businessman who would have been celebrating his 40th birthday today is nursing a gunshot wound at the New Amsterdam hospital after trying to fend off 4 armed men who robbed and shot him at Cumberland East Kanji-Burpees. Injured is Jagdia Phillips, called Zakaria. He was shot and robbed by the quartet who invaded his family's business on Friday night. Meanwhile, police said a total of $700,000 was stolen, along with gold and silver jewelry. And that does it for your Sunday news on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.